Levasto Education, Abishake who's joined with us today. He is honestly a very inspiring person and I believe a mentor to many aspiring students as well. So Levasto is an education service provider, and what makes Levasto even more admirable is the fact that it holds the story of an interesting pandemic success story. Of course, let's get into the story from our founder himself, Abishake. So to start off, Abishake, we know many people in the industry might already be knowing you, but for those watching in, could we have a bit of an intro about yourself and of Levasto?
So, hi, I'm Abishake. I'm the CEO and founder of Levasto Education. I'm a past student of Lyceum International School and I'm a believer of entrepreneurship. So, let me give a small introduction about Levasto Education. Levasto Education is an institute that provides an exceptional learning experience for both local and overseas students who are following the Cambridge and Excel curriculum. Also, you mentioned it as a pandemic success story, right?
Yes.
So just to give you a small idea about that, we started during the pandemic. We are in the middle, at the start of the pandemic, we began as an online tuition provider, and we were one of the first online tuition providers for Cambridge and Excel O-level A-levels. And our first student was an international student from India, and that's where it started off. And as of now, we have over 650 students, out of which 200 are our current existing students. The rest have completed their examinations and we have achieved over 100 plus A-star in A for the respective subjects. And that's a basic introduction about Levasto and myself.
Thank you, Abhishek, for that intro. And honestly, those are very impressive statistics that you just mentioned. So let's go to the root of Levasto, the name. How did you choose the name? Was there any significant meaning behind the name, or did you feel like it was the perfect fit?
So actually, Levasto was supposed to be a football club. Because I'm a huge football fan, Messi fan, so it was supposed to be LFC, Levasto Football Club. That was my initial idea. But you know, for so many reasons, I had a good initiative, but it didn't go through well. So I did not decide and function that operation. When I was trying to find a name for my institution, I was finding it really hard. I did not know what was the perfect fit. So that's when I decided, okay, let me use the same word, Levasto. Levasto Education, sounds good. And I was like, okay, fine, that's the perfect fit. And yes, as of date, I'm so glad and happy that I used that name because I don't think I could have found anything better than that.
Right. So something I've also noticed is that along with Levasto, you use the branding of AK. I see it on your social media feeds, and I'm sure that your students may have also come up to you and asked, what exactly does AK represent? So what does AK stand for?
So that's actually a personal brand. So AK is my name, yeah? So it's Abishake, right? So A-B-I-S-H-A-K-E. So I just took 2 letters of my first name and made into a nickname which I prefer. Many people, used to call me Abhi when I was small, but I preferred AK, but it didn't get caught upon well. And as you mentioned, yes, my students had huge questions with regard to that, and there's a huge board in my classroom saying AK. We have published AK just as a personal brand.
Right. So let's go back to the good old days, Abhishek, when you were at school. So I know you from school, we were schoolmates, and at one point we were classmates as well. And one of the earliest memories I hold of you is, it was an exam day at school and I think it was raining a bit, so you came late to class. And everyone at class looked at you when you arrived late and we were wondering why you would come late on an exam day. But then you redeemed yourself. You were very confident, you sat down, and within 30 minutes or so, you were done with the paper. You raised your hand and told the teacher, Miss, I finished answering the paper. And we were honestly very amazed. So something I've realized is that smartness that you had in that day, you've taken it on till today and it shows off in Levasto. So of course, let's hear about your schooling life from you yourself. How were you as a student and how was your schooling life like? I'm pretty sure your students may be inquisitive to know about that chapter of your life as well.
So as you mentioned, that's a nice story. Sounds like me. I mean the late part because generally I used to arrive to school late. To just give you a small introduction about my education side, I was good at certain subjects, not everything. So my favorite subject was economics and accounting. Accounting was a subject that I was good at. Econ was something that I really preferred. Other than the subject that I do not like, I don't really focus on it a lot. I just ignore it. It's a bad habit, I know that. I'm still working on it. So that's how my education works. Yeah, I got good results for certain subject, but not for everything. As I mentioned to you, I was a huge football fan, so I used to keep on playing football again and again and again. And
while you were at school?
Yes, while I was at school, and also I used to watch a lot of football matches, literally everything that was being telecast. Teachers, about the teachers, I'm really grateful about the teachers. They were a huge inspiration for me. So that's basically about my school life. If you give me a chance to go back in time to visit it, I would obviously do. Best years of my life, I would say. There wasn't any stress, it was really fun. It's really fun.
So was it when you were at school that your passion for being a lecturer and a founder began? Or did that realization hit you after you graduated from school?
No, of course, no, not during school. Initially, I was going to be an engineer. That was my plan. And I realized that's not going to be the perfect fit for me.
Right.
I was sure that I'm going to be a businessman. That's one thing I was really sure about. In fact, I started my first business when I was in A-levels, which was Adrian Mark. It was buying and selling t-shirts. That was my first business. And afterwards, I still did not, think being a lecturer would be even possible. I started to teach my friends. We had study buddy sessions, and then after that we had continuous lectures where each week we set a given period of time. We had classes for 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. We were really dedicated in that, and I used to teach them accounting. But still, I did not, realize saying that's something that I can do because I wasn't confident. After A-levels, before I started Levasto, so there was about 1 year gap.
So this is when you graduated from school?
Yes, right afterwards. So I wanted to teach at my free time, and I had one student, but I was not confident at all. So for that reason, I wanted to self-train myself. I was self-training myself by reteaching me O-level and A-level content and preparing my own notes. So that's when I prepared my tutorials, notes, study notes, revision kits, seminar kits and whatnot. So we're just getting the materials ready until a day which I could use it to be teaching. So after I got all those materials ready, I used that to teach my unofficial student, I mean the one before Levasto. So, but my official time that I thought, right, okay, this is it, I can teach, is when I had my first demo class with my Indian student, the first student of Levasto. After that session, I knew, okay, fine, I did something, and the student was perfectly okay with it. She really enjoyed the class.
So when that realization hit you and when you decided you want to start on Levasto officially, how did that go about? And I also have to mention that from the time that you started Levasto till today, within these 2 years, you've been able to garner a significant amount of success for Levasto. So what are the strategies that were useful in helping Levasto be what it is today?
So I would say everything is mainly because of my first official Levasto student. Because after her class, after the first demo class that I had to her.
And you mentioned she was an overseas student.
Yes, she was an overseas student. She was from India. And she wanted to have a class with me. She found my contact information through a website. And she was like, okay, fine, let me give it a try. I did not have any resources. I did not have a whiteboard. My phone camera quality was really bad. And my internet connection was terrible. But I was like, okay, let me give it a try. I borrowed a whiteboard, I fixed a small whiteboard, and I started off the first session with her. After the session, she gave me a reply. I was really surprised. She was like, okay, she really likes the style of teaching. She would like to proceed classes with me and whatnot. I was really happy about it, and that's where the spark really hit. Where I was like, okay, fine, we can do this. Maybe I would be confident enough to teach a wide scale of students. So that's when I officially started off. And then, in addition to that, there was a lot of sacrifices that I had to go through financially, where whatever the earnings that was made by Levasto was reinvested back into Levasto. Till date, it's mostly like that. And I'm totally fine with that sacrifice because it's to build something significant.
It's all worth it.
Yes, it's all worth it, totally worth it. And afterwards, I also had a lot of time sacrifices that I had to pay. Like, I was doing a lot of individual classes. So I had about 6 individual classes per day. So it's like 12 hours of my time. And it was daily, so I had no holidays. It was like every day I had classes. After like a six class, that means like 12 hours, I'll be like down, I'll be like so tired.
You were burnt out.
Yeah, I mean, I can't do anything afterwards, especially my throat, because I'm like talking for 12 hours, and afterwards I'm like, okay, I'm really tired now. I can't do anything else. But the next day is the same schedule, yeah. Next day when I sleep and wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, I start the same schedule again. But I never regretted that routine. I really loved it because it's something that I like, right? Teaching.
Often when you reteach the same subject matter, it can get a bit repetitive, but it wasn't the same for you because you were passionate about it.
Being very honest about that repetitive nature, when I was in school, I could never imagine how a teacher teaches us one thing and goes into another class and teaches the same thing. I used to wonder, okay, how is this teacher doing that? I mean, she's teaching me the exact same thing in this class. She's going to the next class, teaching the same thing. She's bored and whatnot. But to be really honest, when that happens, there are two people learning there. One is the student who is learning something new for the first time. Other one is the teacher who is learning the same thing again and getting themselves specialized in that particular chapter. So the more individual classes I did, even if I had 6 classes, sometimes I do the same content in the 6 classes. So I wonder why don't I put it as a group class? But I wasn't sure if each and everyone gets the maximum out of it because it was online and I was adapting for it. So for those reasons only I sacrificed and had individual sessions. So even though it took a more time and energy of mine, all of them understood the content perfectly and many of them ended up with A's and A stars. So there was a lot of time sacrifices, mainly because of these online sessions. It was really hard to understand a student off the screen.
That's true. Sometimes when you're teaching a student physically, from the expressions you can have an idea whether your
Exactly.
matter really got to them.
Exactly. So I prefer physical classes, but since we had issues back then, we had to adapt for online. And online classes has its own advantages. Convenient, student can attend classes from anywhere they are. And if they miss out sessions, they can get the recordings also. So they
It
can
might
watch.
have also helped you with your international base.
Yes, of course, because when we start off, our first student was from India. And then we had students from India, Dubai, Qatar, Saudi, South Africa, and various amount of countries. So as I mentioned to you, there was a lot of time sacrifice, financial sacrifice, and it was all worth it. And I was very consistent. There was a lot of dedication on my side, hard work, and I never, gave 99% of myself for a class. It was always 100%. If I cannot give my maximum, I would not have the class that day. So it was always with the intention of providing them quality education, and I never deviated from that.
So apart from the hard work, dedication and commitment that you put in towards Levasto, was there also an external support system that helped you with Levasto, that continues to help you with Levasto and sort of works around the clock with you?
Yes, of course. There was a huge support system. Starting off with my family. They never had restrictions with my career path. I had my freedom to choose my career path, and other lecturer who lectures for economics and business studies.
So this is your co-lecturer?
Yes, he has been with us from the start itself.
Oh, so you founded Levasto along with him, or he joined you along the way?
No, after we founded off, the next few months he was already lecturing before itself. So I was like, we'll join together and we'll create something off, and I added him as a lecturer for Econ and BS, and he's doing an extremely great job till date, and he's going to continue to do that further. All the students' reviews from his student base is really good, and they prefer learning from him. They get the maximum out of it. So that's one of the main reasons for Levasto's success, where his contribution also had a significant impact for us. Next, the students, of course, are main contributors. Without them, I won't be here. I'm really thankful for each and every student of mine who I have taught in the past and present for trusting me and listening to me and continuing to join every single classes of mine. Whether it's free class, whatever the time is it, they always are dedicated and they will join my sessions. And also keeping up with me. Sometimes, I'm friendly with them, yeah, but I'm result oriented. So there are times I get rude and I scold them. Not that much. They know that I'm not like that. Yeah, I'm really friendly. If I scold them, I'm just going to be friendly again. I'll be like, I'm sorry for scolding you. But still, they understand that and they appreciate that and they give their maximum effort from their end. And even in terms of homework, generally students do not do homework. And I have given them the freedom. If you want to do it, it's for your good. I evaluate their progress through that as well. So I would say students have been a huge contributor for us. They have been helping with us and they've been working with us from day one. Of course, our marketing team. Since day one, the posts that were produced till date, every single time there is a new post, a new marketing strategy, there is a lot of improvement I see. A lot of improvement that I really appreciate. And of course, I have told, improve it further. That's what I always say, to get the maximum out of it. But the quality is always up to standard and I'm really happy about it. So I'm more than thankful for them and all of the people who were my support system and contributed and worked with me around the clock to make this a success.
Along with having that support system, I believe yet you face challenges in your journey. That's natural and that's inevitable. So when it comes to Levasto, what were the hurdles that you faced and how did you overcome them?
Of course, there was a lot of challenges. The first challenge I faced the most is financial challenge. Because as I mentioned to you, it took a lot of time for me to adapt and build something. There was a lot of funding that was needed for it. So it was only possible with the reinvestment from Levasto earnings. So for that reason, I had a huge financial challenge. Afterwards, technical challenge. So that basically was the challenge with regard to technical and financial. But one of the main challenges I faced was traveling. Because as I mentioned to you, physical class is kind of better for me. And that's what students prefer the most. It took some time for them to adapt, right? So afterwards, when they wanted physical classes, I did not have a place. So my only option was home visits, where I had traveled from one place to another. Was really tiring, really, where my energy goes off with the travel than providing the lecture. So that was such a huge issue that I faced, but I found a solution. The solution was my first small classroom. So because I wanted to have a physical environment and a homely environment, I started off my first classroom and all the students joined lectures at Levasto. But yet again I had another challenge right afterwards, which is space issue. Now, the first classroom was really small, okay, so I can just have a maximum of 9 students in there. But we can like squeeze in about 10 to 12, but I did not do that due to COVID issues and whatnot. So what happened is I had to find a solution for it. Until then I had to do so many other batches, like 3 to 4 batches per session to do the same thing again and again. Afterwards, as a solution for the second problem, we opened up our second classroom, which now can accommodate about 30 to 40 students. And I hope that I have a third problem where that is not sufficient as well. That's a challenge.
Grow the space.
Yeah, so that's a challenge that I'm looking forward to, and I hope that I'm getting there sooner, where that will also not be sufficient anymore. So those are the challenges. And I believe a challenge is really essential. If there is no challenge, there is no indication for growth. If I don't see any challenges or problems, I'll be disappointed. Because I need to face challenges. I need to have problems. Only then I can find a way to get a solution for it and move forward. Otherwise, there is no growth. So since I want constant growth, I will be looking for further challenges and I will be ensuring that I will be adapting for it and finding a solution afterwards.
Of course, it's essential to adapt to challenges because you can expect to meet more. But with the challenges that you've faced so far, I have to say you have faced them quite impressively, because if we look at the statistics, you've been able to teach 650 plus students, gain hundreds A's and A stars for your students as well, and that's marvelous figures. So when focusing on your students, what do you think is unique about yourself and Levasto that made that possible to draw in these students to your institution?
So first of all, I would say it's the friendly environment that we provide. We are not very strict with the students. We are, when it comes to the work, to get the perfect and the best out of them. We are friendly with them and we associate with them and we get to know them. So personally, I have studied under so many excellent teachers and lecturers. And from that, I have learned a lot. I have observed them. I have observed the way they teach. I have observed the way they are communicating it for the students.
Were there any particular techniques that you absorbed from them?
Yes, so I have observed from some teachers content-wise, where they ensure that the content is covered out fully. And I have observed from some teachers how they categorize the syllabus into parts and they explain the parts with mind maps and short notes and whatnot. And I've also observed teaching style, where how they communicate to the students, how they present themselves in the class. So I've just taken bits of pieces of all of them and tried to adapt into a personal style of my own. So that's why my style is up to a certain extent good, because all my teachers were excellent. So since I learned from them, I was able to build something on my own. So that's basically about my teaching style and the friendly environment. And coming back to how we drew them into our institution, it was actually them who would want to join us. Because after a student joins us, they would definitely recommend us to their friends and family.
So it's spread through word of mouth.
Yes, exactly. That's how the first few students spread. So after one student came, their sibling joined us, their friends joined us, and they used to go and tell the people saying there's a class, please join. And we offered free demo sessions. So they joined us for the free demo session, and afterwards they were like, okay, cool, I would like to continue. So all the feedbacks I got from the students, the same feedback is what they gave as review for the other students, which made students join us, and we did our best. We gave our best. We ensure that we provide the maximum on our end, we provide a quality education, and we also provide them with relevant materials to get their best. As I told you, I am result oriented. I understand that there are students of different categories. We cater for all of them. But it's not just that I am result oriented, get an A star, it's not just that. I will provide the maximum amount of needed equipments and documents for that. Study notes, study materials, short notes, mind maps and everything. So they will be getting all those handed to them. And all they have to do is do the weekly homework. So we provide something extra for them, so they will get the maximum out of it. I think that's the main reason students keep on joining us, and they be consistent with regard to all the classes.
Do you think that it also has to do with, you just don't focus entirely on education but also on other aspects, which I think you have a student council for as well. So shall we dive into that?
Yes, of course. I mean, education is really important. That's our core area of field. But yet again, everyone has a different talent, right? And we want to try to bring out a talent from them. So our student council actually has a huge purpose. One of the main purposes is organizing events such as batch party, reunions. The other main focus of my student council, which I'll be releasing soon, is an entrepreneurship program. We are going to build entrepreneurs within our academy. Where there are students who like to pursue businesses, who like to be entrepreneurs, where we will assist them, we will guide them, we will help them and show them a path. And we will also provide them with our marketing team to assist, admin team to assist, and we will tell them how an internal control is functioning. So they can use the same strategies for their personal business. So yeah, it's not just education. We will try our best to connect with our students during classes and outside classes.
So you don't just support students who want to go through accounting, but also to be entrepreneurs.
Yes, of course. That's one of the main motives at the end of the day. They have to be entrepreneurs. Not really likely, not have to, but whatever the area of field they pursue in, I would say have a business in mind. Contribute something to the economy. Because having a business will basically mean that you are bringing a new product or a specialized service to the economy, to people. That will be of some value to someone. So for those reasons, I promote entrepreneurship so much.
So talking about how you closely guide your students, it's clear that you hold a very close bond with all your students.
Yes, of course.
But I believe from all your students, the most memorable student that you mentioned to me in a personal conversation is of course your first official student of Levasto.
Yes.
So shall we dive into the first student of Levasto? Any interesting stories that you may want to share?
Of course, my first student, she was from India, and after she contacted me, I had a huge challenge in my hand because I wanted to finish the whole syllabus for her. It's a 2-year syllabus within 4 months.
That's a challenge.
That's a huge challenge. So the reason was she was from a boarding school, so she had to go back to her school after the holidays. It was actually lockdown, and after she goes there, she cannot communicate with me. She cannot have classes. She can't take the devices and go. So for those reasons, I had to finish off the whole syllabus in 4 months. It wasn't easy. We had classes daily, 2 to 3 hour classes. She was really dedicated. She was one of the best students I had. She gave her hard work. She had very much commitment towards the subject, and she ended up getting an A. I'm really proud of that. She missed the A star by just 1 mark. I'm really proud of that result, and that was my first student's result, so that result was really significant for me. And till date, I still communicate with her. I think in fact she dropped me a message even today. She replied to the story of what we posted, and we are in close contacts. She's a really nice person, and she's really doing good now. She's really doing good.
I saw that you did an interview with her as well, and she shared
Yes.
her journey.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can go and check it out. It's there on our page, Levasto Education. You can see her point of view with regard to our lectures and whatnot, on how she enjoyed the lectures and how she would like to. She actually misses having classes. She really liked that 4 months that we had.
Did you ever expect your first official student to be an international student?
No, I did not even expect her to be my student in the first place. I was not. She found my website out of surprise. Even she doesn't know how she randomly got to it. So it was really surprising. It's like coincidence that worked out perfectly fine. If she did not contact me that day, I might not even have an institution by now. So that's the reason she's a very significant and very important person to me.
So let's move on to the space of the education industry, of which Levasto is a big part of. So we are aware that Levasto is of course one of the other education service providing institutes that are out there. So what do you think makes Levasto special from the rest?
I mean, first of all, our friendly environment, and we'll try our best to give our commitment, dedication, and everything to our students, and also the quality education that we provide. Because it's not just education, as I mentioned, we also provide them, assist them with every possible other ways, with our student council, to even we have this student of the month program, where it's to motivate the students to building a healthy competition, where some of them compete to be the student of the month, where they join classes regularly, they do their homework very well, they get the maximum marks out of their homeworks, they try to do their best. So I'm trying to cater to them, where the smartest student and the student who is weak in the subject also feels appreciated and feels welcomed in my classroom, and that's the maximum point of it. And also we focus on the quality over quantity. So we ensure to provide every single thing to the student with regard to the syllabus content, study material, short notes, and our specialized seminars which we conduct annually, our mock exams. Our mock exams are really special because we have it at the location where they have the main exam itself. So they will be getting a pre-mock like in that same exact location before their exams.
And they'll get used to that exam
The
environment as well.
Yes.
I saw recently you had one exam at BMICH.
Yeah, we had at BMICH. So most of the exams generally take place at BMICH. So the students that had the exam this time at BMICH was, it was the second time that they were being there, because they have already sat in an exam environment. And one of the main reasons about that mock exam that I had it at BMICH is because if you see properly, the students after 2019 did not have an examination because it was on lockdown, exams got postponed, online examinations, assessments and whatnot. That's how it works. So there were a lot of students who has never sat for an exam.
And some students might have also lost touch
Yes,
with this exam
of
environment.
course. And that's a huge risk because let's say it's an O-level student who is straight away going to do an A-level exam without the O-level exam experience. That's a big problem. Or what if there are students who have never done an exam? Both O-level and A-level, they haven't sat for a professional exam, it's just online. I mean, in a situation like that, what if that student face difficulties after they leave school? What if they find difficulties with regard to their university exams or whatnot? So for those reasons only I'm having the exam where they get the same exam environment, the same exam fear, which our aim was to break it. That was the whole purpose of that mock exam. So we will be providing extra assistance apart from that. So in terms of Levasto, we will be providing education-wise and also that extra other stuff that we provide to them. So I think that's what differentiates Levasto.
So you mentioned free classes.
Yeah.
If anyone watching in wants to know more details about the classes and wants
Yes.
to join in, could you maybe take us over the duration that these classes are provided for?
Yes, for sure. So this free class is actually for the whole year. So you all can join the free class, it's for the whole year. It's a weekly session for O-levels and A-levels. It's a free MCQ class. So the reason it's an MCQ class is because you can learn a lot from an MCQ. By just doing one MCQ, you might get the maximum knowledge of that whole chapter itself. Or sometimes the areas that you feel challenging, you might get those sorted out by just doing a few MCQs. So that's the reason I'm having this MCQ class, and it's a different strategy that I'm focusing on. So it's conducted only online. Already there are about 120 people in the group for the free MCQ class. We are hoping more to join that sessions as well.
Yeah, that's a wonderful initiative. So on the topic of the education industry,
Yeah.
what are your future plans with Levasto? Do you intend on making your own personal mark in this industry?
So of course, one thing that I want to mention is financing. So I personally believe the importance of finance is really significant. Not just for a person who is in the financial, who is following the financial stream, but even for a non-financial individual. So for those reasons, I have started off a program which is known as Finance for Non-Finance, which is a new initiative, and I believe it's going to create a huge impact because we are going to break that into two categories. One will be for corporates, other will be for students. So the students will be our main focus for these next few months, whereas we'll be providing financial knowledge for students of a non-financial background. For example, a student who has proceeded from the science sector. So we'll be providing them financial knowledge from the basic level, from very start, what they need to know, not very technical, just something that they really need to know, which could prevent them from making silly mistakes and which would prevent them from, making bad financial decisions as well. So from a basic level, we'll be taking them to an intermediate level. So we have both level 1, level 2 and level 3 as well. And for all the students who pursue the finance or non-finance program, they'll be getting a certificate awarded by license assessments as well, which will be really, really valuable for that student. And in terms of corporates, we will be offering a certificate for them as well, which is from MT Studios. And we have already started off 2 sessions for the corporates. Both are firms from Qatar. I'm looking forward in having more sessions for corporate individuals and students. Just to give you a basic introduction about the purpose of this session. Now, there's a lot of learnings that we get with regard to accounting. And there are a lot of people who would like to be entrepreneurs. Not just the people who pursue the commerce sector, but also from the other sectors. So one thing that I believe in the most, and to quote, accounting is the language of a business. So for that reason, I believe a basic level of financial knowledge is really essential for every single person. Not only for the person who's going to be an entrepreneur, but also for their basic needs and whatnot. So for those reasons, when I introduce this program with different levels and whatnot, once they are completed the sessions, they will go from a basic level of understanding to intermediate level of understanding in terms of finances. Now that is something will be really valuable for people, and it's something new that I'm willing to offer for them. So that is our next step with regard to Levasto. Changing a little bit in terms of their point of view, people's point of view with the financial streams.
Right. So now that we know about Levasto, if we are to focus on you,
Yes.
what are more of your personal goals? Or if I'm to rephrase it, where do you see yourself in the next 10 years maybe?
So about future plans and goals. I'm a person who never gets satisfied. So if I've achieved something or gained something, I'm like, okay, what's next? That's it. That's the only question I'll ask. I might be happy for what I have done, but that won't be for a long time. I think it's a good habit and a bad habit. It's a good habit because it keeps me progressing from next to next to next to next. But it's a bad habit because I don't know when I'll stop and when I'll be really satisfied about what I have done. So for that reason, I have a few plans which I'll be building in terms of Levasto, which I mentioned a few. The most current one is finance or non-finance, and there are other stuff which will be coming soon. And in
This
terms
would
of
be in other realms, right?
yeah, it could be. In terms of my personal goals, I would also be entering into other industries within this year, which again yet it will be announced sooner as possible. Because I have a few industries which I prefer to be in, and I think now it's the time to visit them and see what I could change or get the maximum out of that area of field. And also those will directly help Levasto and that could be a collaboration where Levasto students get further benefits out of my other institutions as well. So that's one of the main reasons I'm starting off other institutions in different industries, which will be coming forward. And in terms of final aim and goal, no. I don't set myself for one aim and goal. I have countless number of aims and goals which I will hope to achieve from time to time. And once they achieve, I'll put in new ones. That's how it's going to be.
So those industries that you mentioned that you wish to enter
Yes.
into, I think that will help you grow your own personal brand of AK as well, don't you think?
Yeah, of course, yes. Which again, relates to the industries that I'm entering into. But one small hint I can give, it's all service sectors. Because I believe in providing exceptional service is possible by me. I can do that. With regard to buying and selling products, I did that before. I had a t-shirt business, which was very small scale. But I believe in service business a lot from now onwards. So every single industry that I'm entering will 100% be a service sector. And I will ensure to provide the maximum service and effort that I do with regard to Levasto in education to any other services that I enter as well. And of course, yes, build a personal brand of AK. That's one of the main reasons there's a huge board saying AK in my classroom as well, which will be disclosed soon too.
So you settled for AK, but initially when I came across this word of AK, I was wondering, because your surname is Rambukkana, that you might have gone for AR, but why did you choose AK instead?
I prefer AK. Then AR doesn't sound, something that I prefer to. AKA sounds right. Perfect.
It's stuck.
Yeah, it's perfect for me. So that's the reason I went with AK.
Right. So to wrap up, Abishake, for those watching in, aspiring entrepreneurs, aspiring lecturers, or aspiring founders as well, do you have any piece of advice that worked for you that you would be willing to share with them?
Yes, of course. So first of all, I would like to say, if you are a person who is willing to start a business, if you have any sort of a business plan, idea, or a specialized service that you could offer, never let it go for waste. Do whatever you could, spend time on it, spend a little bit of finance on it, and build something great. Don't ever give up on yourself. And also, with regard to a business, as I mentioned to you and quoted before, accounting is the language of business. So ensure to educate yourself with regard to basic financial knowledge and have a sort of understanding in the financial markets, which could be an added benefit for you. And also always educate yourself. Never stop learning, because investment in education will always pay the best interest. So never stop learning, never give up on yourself, and keep progressing and break all the challenges.
And also learn the art of reinvesting, I believe.
Yes, a lot that has a lot of sacrifices involved. I mean, it's not easy to put back whatever the cash earned into the business. It's really hard because there are other expenses that you would want to spend on. But that sacrifice is worth it. That sacrifice is really, really worth it.
And I think an important part of the journey.
One of the most important part of that journey.
Right. And finally, Abhishek, for those watching in who wants to join in with Levasto, what path should they take? How should they contact you?
So if you're a student who is pursuing Cambridge and excel in the commerce field, or if you're a person who would like to do so and who is confused in deciding, you can always get in touch with us. You can type Levasto Education on Google, or you can type us on any social media page and give us a call, or you can drop us a message and we will immediately assist you. And if you are a student who wants to get registered to our full-time batch or our part-time batch, all you need to do is get in touch with us. We will be sending you the registration link and we will be promising you that you will get the maximum learning that you deserve and the quality education which could assist you and help you achieve that A star.
Right. So as you guys heard, if you want to connect with Levasto, you can head over to their social media pages. And finally, thank you so much, Abhishek, for joining in with us and having this very insightful conversation about the story of Levasto.
Thank you so much for inviting me as well for this.
Of course. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and also take care. And that goes out from myself and from the Levasto team.